I've been here since 1 o'clock and it's really so good to see that you're willing to put your time in and see this kind of resonance in the event. And thank you also for the speakers to come here. I'm very humbled to be the last speaker on this panel of great thinkers and experts, and so this is what I got. My remarks on the role of humor in the past election and its aftermath were triggered by a comment by Jude Apatow, who suggested that the outcome of the election wasn't a surprise to him because he had been saying all along that the funnier candidate always wins. I quote Apatow, "I said it as a joke, but I think there's something to it. Reagan was funny, Bill Clinton was funny, Bush was funnier than Gore, Obama was funnier than probably anyone who's ever run for office. Even though the president-elect rarely laughs and has a demented sense of humor, Trump is way funnier than Hillary Clinton." End quote. Let's just leave aside the problem that in the US, the personal likability of a candidate is widely considered the most important factor in a presidential race, which strikes me as utterly absurd. But I want to take seriously the claim that Trump is funny and take a closer look at one of his jokes. The joke in question came up in an interview with Howard Stern, where Trump linked avoiding STDs to serving in the Vietnam War. What he actually says is that dating or sleeping around in the 80s was, quote, "my personal Vietnam. I feel like a great and very brave soldier." The joke epitomizes what Freud in his jokes and their relation to the unconscious defines as a tendentious joke. It has a hidden meaning and a hidden purpose that is hostile and obscene. And it directs aggression at actually two targets. One target are women, sexually liberated women, but also female sex workers, who are indeed at an increased risk of attracting and transmitting sexual diseases because they're more likely to engage in risky sexual behaviors. The other target of the joke are Vietnam veterans who survived the war because or despite of their bravery and maybe because of sheer luck. Either way, given that Trump successfully dodged the draft, his joke takes on an added level of meaning because he seems to put himself down with his joke, right? He was exposed to STDs all the time, but he really built himself up because he made it unscathed. The joke is also a good example of smut, which Freud describes as an act of aggression originally addressed towards women in the service of seduction. If the woman resists, however, the act of aggression is diverted into a joke that is now directed at a third party, another male listener who just happens to be present. Freud also concedes that at highest social levels, the presence of women brings smut to an end. I quote, "The men save it up till they are alone together," end quote. Because the joker no longer addresses the woman directly, but instead addresses his male listeners, the aggressive act now assumes the character of a joke. And this is really the meaning of locker room talk. It is smut that is tolerated and tolerable because the target is absent, allowing it to take on the character of a joke. Freud also recognizes that tendentious jokes have a cathartic function, particularly when they involve aggression or cruelty. Tendentious jokes make it possible to momentarily overcome repression and circumvent the obstacles of upbringing, education, and society's restrictive morality. In Freud's work and in the popular perception, they are associated with the satisfaction of a primary urge and the enjoyment of those subjects of pleasure that are regarded as taboo, cruelty and obscenity. This is the background against which I think we must understand those rather misleading claims according to which tendentious jokes are validated as acts of subversion, as defiance against political correctness. Trump, of course, has railed about political correctness many times, and he relishes posturing as a daring truth-teller who reclaims pleasure from a humorless, repressive society. But what purports to be a courageous act of defiance against the infringement of individual rights is a false, or worse, an affirmative joke if we believe Adorno and Horkheimer's analysis of humor in the culture industry fragment of the dialectic of enlightenment. Conjuring up a critique of mass entertainment as mass deception, Adorno and Horkheimer concede that enjoying bourgeois high culture isn't exactly the equivalent of a fun ride in the water park. Quote, "Baudelaire is as devoid of humor as Hölderlin," end quote. And Adorno will later state that comedy is actually the privilege of more innocent times, which is a an extension, I think, of his claim that writing poetry after Auschwitz is barbaric. And so they issue a call to resist the comic mode. And in a broader sense, they issue an injunction against laughter, that, quote, disease which has attacked happiness and it's drawing it into its worthless totality. This is because to laugh at something means to disparage it. Laughter is barbaric and inhumane. Roger Behrens elaborates on this idea when he defines the humor of capitalism as the Schadenfreude over its victims. It means that the oppressed rejoice in the misery of the other oppressed, thereby affirming that they are in a relationship of competition with each other. And this is in line with Freud's understanding of Schadenfreude, which he associates with the laughter of a child who gains pleasure from seeing another child make a mistake that he successfully avoided. It is a resentful kind of humor by which we attack that which is like us precisely because it is like us. What I argue then is that Trump's joke about avoiding STDs being his personal Vietnam doesn't signify the raucous laughter of the strong man. Instead, I would argue that it exposes a kind of humor that is symptomatic of feelings of inferiority and of fears of emasculation. The root cause of this obscene joke is the denial of sexual gratification. The flip side of the politically incorrect, misogynistic, and supposedly subversive joke is nostalgia for a time when white male culture was dominant and women were kept subordinate, and by that I also mean sexually subordinate, unable to enjoy the kinds of opportunities and the sexual self-determination they enjoy today. The laughter it evokes is symptomatic of a belief shared by many Trump supporters who feel economically and culturally left behind after witnessing minorities in general, but in particular women, excel and do better in the competitive race of capitalism than themselves. But it's also feeling, this may seem counterintuitive, that Trump shares with his base. Trump may be filthy rich and the most powerful man in the Western Hemisphere at the moment, but he's nevertheless extremely vulnerable. Not very long ago, Trump was a stock character not taken seriously by the urban liberal educated elites who sneer at the tacky tabloid exhibitionist and who are not impressed by his botched business ventures and gaudy lifestyle. For them, he's just an awkward and unlucky schlemier for whom things just don't turn out right. Just think of the bankruptcy filings and Trump University and all that. As Ken has shown, it's really fun to make fun of Trump. Just again, when I evoke again the cheap China-manufactured ties that he attaches with Scotch tape at the end so it doesn't flap around, or the gaudy taste of his Trump Tower residence decked out with ostentatious decorations and paintings of himself. Obama made some good jokes about this during the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. That night, Trump was also the butt of jokes by comedian Seth Meyers, who joked that, I quote, Donald Trump has been saying he'll run for president as a Republican, which is surprising, as I just assumed he was running as a joke, end quote. So we obviously don't know what Trump was thinking that night, but he did look unhappy and humiliated during Meyers' act, which prompted some to say that it triggered some deep yearning for revenge in him. And Meyers later apologized to the public, not for beating up Trump, mind you, but for the fact that this may have led to him running for president. So to conclude, I'm quite a comedy junkie these days because but I concede that my addiction makes me complicit with the kind of mean-spirited humor that is also the essence of the tendentious joke. My liberal laughter is its own version of plain old Schadenfreude. For how is it different from the affirmative laughter prescribed by the pleasure industry, and I'm using Adorno and Horkheimer's words, right? This fun in the form of fun as a medicinal bath. It certainly isn't a viable form of resistance. Adorno and Horkheimer write that, I quote, Donald Duck in the cartoons and the unfortunate in real life get their thrashing so that the audience can learn to take their own punishment, end quote. The danger of humor as mass entertainment, whether directed at Donald Duck or the Donald, is that it primes us to capitulate to power as something inescapable. Take Meyers' joke about Trump running as a joke. The sad truth is that this joke isn't just about Trump. isn't just on Trump, but on all of us, on our democracy, where the kinds of ideologies that used to drive political discourse and public debate have been replaced by a hyperbolically advanced, mutated form of the culture industry that has turned reality into mass entertainment and mass entertainment into, I guess, our new reality. The joke is not Trump who ran for president, but on us who allowed this to happen. Thanks.